Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Welcome to another week. I filmed a bit of footage there over the weekend, just a small bit. I changed the gas struts on the pedal of the T7550 of the accelerator pedal. I think I explained it before. Basically, your feel of your accelerator pedal is controlled by two gas struts on all them steyr. CVTs, CVXs, all that, and they just get weak over time, and they were very, very weak in that one, so I had to change them. But the loader brackets made it very, very awkward. So I have a small bit of footage there, not all of it, and look, we'll just show you kind of what to do, because every single person that has one of them is going to have to do that job at some stage. So yeah, I'll include in a bit of that. Today we are tanking slurry. We have a colossal amount of slurry moved today. Started around 6 this morning with the tanker, and then we were piping, and now we're tanking again. We were tanking with the 3 tankers here for a while, but I had a burst tyre in one of them, so that finished that. But it's into the small hours of the morning now, and the traffic is very quiet on the road, which makes it absolutely ideal for us. But I would say rough calculations, probably 30, I would say, yeah, 35,000 gallons maybe in the first job. We got out, then we got about 60,000 gallons out with the pipe, and now we have about another, well, I'd say we have shoving on for 70 or 80 in this job, I would imagine. We would, because we've two, I think they're either 4 or 5 bays, definitely 4s, if not 5 bays, and they're 9 foot deep, and we've one of them empty, and we're only a couple of loads away from empty another one of them here. So we would, yeah, we'd have that much to. But it's the flood rain in, I think it's going to start at about 4 o'clock in the morning, so in another short space of time it's going to start flooding rain. Anyway, bit of, I suppose, sometimes we go on a bit of a rant, and here we go. It's coming, it's building with a while now. The fuel price is going mental. I've some diesel ordered there at €1.50 a litre, and when you have to put that in the car, you're complaining about the price of it. So putting that in a tractor that's burning 300 litres in a day, if it's working, is it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for me, or it's not sustainable for the end customer, because obviously I can absorb a certain amount, but I can't absorb all of that. So that is adding huge amounts to the prices of what we're doing. I have it worked out. I'm not gonna put it up here, because probably some local lad will decide that you can do it cheaper or something like that. But I have it worked out what is working out per hour, and it's adding an awful lot onto the job for the likes of this, which like I say, is not good. However, it all stems back to Russia invading the Ukraine, and everyone has their opinions on that, and ideas, and you know, obviously everyone is entitled to their opinions and ideas, but I have my own ones on it as well. And look, while things look bad at the moment, and war is a horrible thing, it's going to ruin families for a couple of generations. There's going to be people that fought in that war are never again going to be right, or people have died, and that has ruined families and everything. So war is not a good thing, but I do wonder whether it's going to be a good thing for farming. In the short term, it's not. It's driving everything crazy, because we rely on Russia for an awful lot of stuff, but maybe that's going to change now, and maybe that change might be for the better. My opinion is this country is very very badly run. It is crazy. We have very little of our own industries. We have look, there's just too many people doing nothing in this country. There isn't enough people out working day and night, in my opinion. The people that are working are carrying too many with them, and that's a huge problem. For every one person that works hard, you're carrying an awful lot of people that aren't working hard. So that is a problem. But in the future, if the EU aren't going relying on Russia for an awful lot of their stuff, then it might bring about changes. Changes in the sense that we do an awful lot of stuff ourselves. We're not relying on so many imports into the EU, and that in turn creates industry. Like, for example, the Green Party banned exploration of oil off the Irish coasts. We have huge reserves off the coast of Kerry, but all that was banned because it's not good for the environment and all of that. But I think this could be a pivotal turning point in that sort of thing, and all this environmental rubbish that is going on in farming and re-wetting the bogs, closing power stations, all of that. I think with energy crises, food crises, there are going to be two huge things that are we have to have energy and we have to have food, or else society doesn't work. People don't even survive. Just the whole thing cannot work without energy and food. So are we going to have to produce more of it now that we're not relying on Russia for energy or for food? Which, by the way, Ukraine are one of the biggest producers of food in the world. They're like the fourth biggest producer of potatoes in the world. I think they're the biggest in Europe in wheat, seventh biggest in the world in wheat, fourth biggest in Europe in barley. If I look them up, I know them, but they're just ones I know off the top of my head. Huge sunflower country as well. But if all of that goes, and which will go up, because even if this war finishes tomorrow, that country is in ruination for the next 10 years, because there's going to be so many people displaced, so many people with a bitter taste in their mouth, and you will have people that are pro-Russian as well in that country, even though obviously nobody on the western side agrees with that. But you are going to have people that say, yeah, maybe we want to be part of Russia. So that country is going to be very, very, very badly run, not at its capacity for the next 10, 20 years, I would say, when this whole thing finishes up, which I don't know where it is going to finish up. I don't think they're going to beat the Russians. I just don't think Russia will actually allow that to happen. If it goes that far, Russia will go nuclear, because they're not going to lose. It's like, I don't know how I would put it to you, but basically, if you corner a rat, he's going to go for you. He's going to fight. If you corner a badger, he's going to try his best to get out of it. That's what Russia are doing. They're being poked at, and they're not going to lose. They actually can't lose. If you take on a small country like the Ukraine, which in comparison to Russia is a tiny, tiny country, and you lose the war, it's not going to happen. He is not going to back down at this stage, and he will go nuclear if he has to. Obviously, I don't hope, or I don't wish, or it's my opinion on it, but I think my opinion is right. He's not going to lose this one. He can't let himself lose it. But that's what's going to happen with it, I think. And if he goes nuclear, then Russia will cease to exist within the space of a couple of hours, because the western side will just absolutely destroy it. So look, in that sense, it's bad. But I think, personally, I think for the future of farming, it mightn't be the worst thing in the world. After the First World War, after the Second World War, farming became a huge thing. Food security, energy security was a huge thing. and we might have to go there again. The problem is we just need to get that, I won't use the words I would like to use for, but the people that are in power in this country, and unfortunately there's nothing we can really do about that, because there is nobody else there to vote for. In my opinion, there's no other party big enough or stable enough to run the country, but they're just ridiculous. Like they're all about the people who aren't willing to work, and they don't think anything of the lads that are getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and working till 10 o'clock at night. They are not even considered in the whole thing, and without them, unfortunately, the whole thing falls apart as well. But I don't know, big changes on the way. I think this energy thing, however long it will go on for, I don't know, but I think the future might be slightly different for all of us. Hopefully it is a good future we have ahead of us. Right, so I'm at a kind of a tricky one here. If you can see away in here, we have our two, can't even get the camera on. In there, those two nuts, and you see our two gas struts. They're the two gas struts on our accelerator pedal. That's what gives our accelerator pedal its responsiveness, its resistance, and the two of them are gone pretty weak, so I'm going to change them, but it's not easy. It's very, very awkward to change them, because they haven't a lot of room. Now I've taken off the firewall off the back of the engine, and that's giving me a bit more room, but all of it is from the other side now, which I will show you now, but it's definitely not going to be easy. Yeah, so it's in there I need to go. So I'm going to have to put the camera down to get them out, but look, I'll get them out and I'll show you. I might set it up on the other side and you'll be able to see me putting them in. Okay, so I have the two old ones out. It's not easy, it's very difficult. But they are pretty much shot. They're not gone, but look, I can close it with my index finger, so there isn't much left of them. I could close that one a bit easier even, yeah. And this is a new one, which I can barely close with my thumb, so it's going to be difficult enough to put that back on. But I think I'll try and get them in on the bottom first, and then just pop them in on top. Hopefully that'll work, but yeah, I should be able to get it done. Very tricky place, unfortunately. Look, I'd love to be able to stick the camera up in there. I'll try, but I'd just like for you to be able to see it, because everyone with this IVX is going to have to do them at some stage, and they're not easy. Okay, so welcome back. Today here, look, we're back at the 1170. She's finally off the hitch cutter. She got a massive clean down. I gave ages upon ages washing it down. It was totally destroyed in muck and dirt and bits of leaves and stuff like that. We had two spool valves that were playing up, so that's what I'm doing here now. I'm changing them. Basically take off your end plate and slide out all your slices, and that's it really. There isn't a whole pile to it. I have one at this side in, so I must do that one after, but that's the new valve on there now, or a reconditioned valve. I've the old one taken off, and I must just put on these two now again, and that will be this side of it done. Put on my pipe work and away we go. Right, so we have our valves changed now, and they need to be configured, but they're configured to 0. So in theory, when I plug in, well, I had to make a phone call on this one because I wasn't sure. I've never changed valves before. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to leave plugged in the two that are working. And for instance, if the one that has failed is number 2, then you need to plug him in, let the tractor configure him, and then plug in number 4 and let the tractor configure that. If you have 2 missing, you have to go in numerical order basically. So we're going to try that now, but I know somebody has changed the configuration and the valves in this tractor before, and I'm trying to go by memory which valves have failed, so hopefully I get it right, and hopefully I have the right valves in my head. But we're going to try number 3 first. So we turn on our key. The tractor should start looking for failed valves. There we have number 4, but we don't have number 3, so that means we've plugged them in the right way around. So I'll start the tractor now. Only barely started. Obviously we've a controller fault there because our voltage dropped, and that's why we have that fault. So all I'm missing now is valve 4, so I'll switch her off again. Now I'll plug in valve number 4, which is actually number 1, but somebody has reconfigured them on this tractor, so it's number 4. Good thing I made a phone call on that, because that wouldn't have entered my head. That problem wouldn't have entered my head at all if I had just plugged them in without the numerical order system. So this is another prayer now. So that's it. We'd have our error by now if we were going to get it. There we go. All our valves are now back working. I'm going to send away the 2 other ones. Thankfully the guy I was dealing with sent me them 2, and now I'm going to send them his, but we are, should we say, friendly, so that's how that one came to happen.